The pandemic occurs when an infectious and very contagious epidemic disease strikes every continent in the world. Check below the 9 biggest epidemics and pandemics that have marked history. Leave like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go. 9. Swine flu, H1N1. In 2009, the H1N1 flu, type A influenza or swine flu, started in Mexico and soon spread around the world. It was called swine flu since it was first identified in pigs. The outbreak of this respiratory disease caused by viruses continued until 2010 and reached about 207 countries worldwide. It is estimated that, in this period, 9,000 people died. The groups that are most at risk of contamination are children, pregnant women and the elderly. Very contagious disease, presents symptoms similar to those of the common flu, fever, cough and body pain. It is estimated that about 20,000 people have died from this disease worldwide. 8. Cholera. Infectious bacterial disease that has had several outbreaks in human history, the largest of which occurred in the 19th century. It is estimated that about 30,000 people died from this disease. Cholera is mainly caused by the lack of basic sanitation, generated by water and food contaminated by the bacteria. The main symptom is diarrhea, leading to severe dehydration. Currently, this disease continues to affect several people in the world, mainly in underdeveloped countries, where sanitation is precarious. 7. Coronavirus. Coronavirus is a pandemic that hit the world population at the end of 2019 and 2020. It is worth remembering that the coronavirus is a family of viruses, and the cause of the disease COVID-19 is the virus identified as SARS-CoV-2. The acronym SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. The disease was identified in late 2019 in China, more precisely in the city of Wuhan, and has spread to other countries on all continents. This virus began to infect bats and, later, humans. This disease attacks the lungs, leading patients to severe respiratory failure, which can result in death. In the beginning, the disease includes the symptoms of a normal flu, but it can progress to cases of severe pneumonia. Note that the hardest hit people are over 60 years old. 6. Typhus. It was in the 15th century that typhus started to affect the population, but it was after the First World War that this disease affects most people, killing about 3 million individuals in 5 years, 1918 to 1922. It is transmitted through contaminated lice, which were found in rats at the time. Therefore, this disease is also very related to the Black Plague, which also spread due to the lice that bitten the mice and became infected. With that, it is clear that typhus spread at a time when sanitation was one of the few concerns of the population. The symptoms of typhus are initially similar to those of the flu, however, with the presence of skin rashes. 5. AIDS, HIV. AIDS, acronym for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, is a disease caused by the HIV virus that attacks the immune system, attacking TCD4 lymphocytes, fundamental for the body's defenses. Its transmission occurs during sexual intercourse, and also by blood transmission caused, above all, by the use of injectable drugs. In addition, pregnant women who have the virus can pass it on to their children during pregnancy. To date, no cure for this disease has been discovered. Patients control the disease and strengthen the immune system. It is estimated that more than 20 million people in the world have already died of AIDS. 4. Black Death. It was in the 14th century, during the Middle Ages, that the Black Plague, also called bubonic plague, devastated the European and Asian population. It had its origin in the east, in Mongolia, and was spread by commercial boats that carried out work between the two continents. Caused by a bacterium, this disease first hit the mice and then was passed on to humans by the infected fleas that had bitten the animals. The symptoms were similar to a strong flu, but with swollen lymph nodes and the presence of pus and blood bubbles throughout the body. The biggest problem that caused this disease to reach great proportions was in the conditions of sanitation and hygiene at the time. It is estimated that in Europe, 1/3 of the population died, that is, about 25 million people between the years 1347 and 1353. 3. Spanish flu. The Spanish flu was one of the biggest pandemics in history that hit the world population in 1918, at the end of the First World War, and remained until 1920. It received this name because Spain was one of the countries hardest hit at the beginning of the outbreak. Influenza is the name given to the virus of this disease that has infected around 500 million people worldwide. The number of deaths is not certain, but it is estimated that this flu has killed between 20 and 40 million people worldwide. In Brazil, the country's president at the time, Rodrigues Alves, passed away. Note that a variation of this same virus, known as H1N1, reached the population again in 2009. 2. Smallpox. Smallpox is a disease caused by the orthopox virus variole virus, with symptoms similar to those of normal flu, fever and body aches, plus vomiting and skin ulcers. Several outbreaks of smallpox have occurred in human history, the first of which occurred in 430 BCE in Greece. It is estimated that at that time 1/3 of the Greek population died. Later, it was the Romans' turn, and with the great navigations in the 15th century, the disease arrived in America. It was only in the 18th century that the disease began to be controlled with the creation of the smallpox vaccine by Edward Jenner. In the 20th century, more precisely in the 1980s, when it killed more than 300 million people, this disease was considered to be eradicated from the planet. 1. Tuberculosis. It was in the middle of the 19th century that tuberculosis began to affect a large part of the population. This disease caused by a bacterium, Koch's bacillus. It is also called pulmonary physical disease, as it affects the lungs, causing severe symptoms of respiratory failure. However, the disease can also affect other organs of the body such as bones, skin and lymph nodes. When affected by the disease, people begin to experience acute coughing spells with blood and pus. Until the middle of the 20th century, tuberculosis affected people in different parts of the world, and it is estimated that it killed up to 1 billion individuals. Although it is controlled, it is still present in some countries of the world, especially underdeveloped countries. Tell here in the comments what you found from the video. Take care too much. I will stay here.